I'm Jimmy Bach, and this is History with Jimmy, along with my producer, Chandler Holmes. And also today we have Jake Bluda and a special guest, Lynn Titus. And we're going to talk a little bit, I'm going to read about the Vietnam War, which Lynn was in. And the Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975, was a Cold War conflict between the communist North Vietnam and South Vietnam, stemming from Vietnam anti-colonial struggles against France, with the U.S. escalating involvement from advisors to mass troop to contain communism, and eventually withdrawing in 1973. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jake and Lynn, and we thank Lynn for coming and stuff. We appreciate it. So Jake, go ahead.
Well, first of all, Lynn, I'd like to say it's good to see you again, my old friend. Lynn and
Glad
I
to
go
be
back
back.
a long, long ways here. And anyway, he is famous as a Shickshinny High School basketball star, and among many other things. But anyway, Lynn, you were in the Navy first, I understand, and then you went in the Army, correct?
Yes, I was. I was in the Navy 4 years, 1957 to 1961.
Good, 761.
And, yeah,
Okay.
and I spent 4 years there. And then when I got out of the Navy, I was out for maybe about 6 months, and I decided, well, I think the service needs me. So I went in the Army in January 1962, and I stayed until April of 78.
All right.
Retired.
Well, couple of
I had my
questions.
20 years.
What outfit were you with? What were you? Were you First Army, Second Army, Third Cav? No, what were you? What outfit?
Well, when I first went in, I was stationed in Fort Rucker, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
After I got out of basic, I was down there, and I was there. It's the home of aviation. Fort
Okay.
Rucker is, and I was there for 2 years, and then I left Fort Rucker and I got stationed into 64 to 60. Let's see, 62 to 64. And 64 to 66, I was stationed in Orléans, France.
Okay. Were you air cav at all, by any chance?
No,
You weren't air cav?
no,
Not the big red one?
no, but I know people that was in the Big Red
All
Room.
right. So here's another question for you. I served with a lot of guys and a lot of interesting stories getting over the Nam. Did you fly or did you go by boat?
First time to Vietnam, I went by ship, 30 days.
30 days. That was fun, wasn't it?
Oh yes, we landed in the southern part of Vietnam, and we got all put in deuces and a half and traveled to Nha Trang, Vietnam, which is fifth headquarters, 5th Special Forces headquarters.
So that was a little excitement. Probably wondering what the heck's going to happen now. Right?
Yeah, right, it was.
You hear
It was.
all these strange sounds around you, and the food, and the smells are a little different than over here. Right. So, and then at this time, were you assigned to a particular outfit?
Yes, I was assigned, first of all, I had to go through about a week's training with Special Forces.
Okay. All right.
And then I finally got my orders for a place called, in southern Vietnam, which is called the Plain of Reeds, Cam To. It's Vietnam, and that was my headquarters, Delta Company.
Mm-hmm.
It was our headquarters for 5th Special Forces in that section. See, the Vietnam was had 4 corps: I Corps, 1 Corps, 2 Corps, 3 Corps, and 4 Corps. They had, I Corps, 2 Corps, 3 Corps, and 4 Corps.
All right.
That's what they had. I was down in 4 Corps. It was we call the Plain of Reeds, and it was nothing but. First of all, when I left Camp To, which was at the delegate headquarters, I got stationed up on a B Camp B41 around close by the Cambodian border, a little hamlet called Makwa. Yeah, and under us we had 6 A camps.
Mm-hmm. What was the weather like? wonderful, like down in Florida?
Well, it was 100 and over 100 every day.
Every day.
But you see, down in the Delta is nothing but the Melcon River. They had canals, which was their main, but the main people of Vietnamese, you know, they traveled by sampans and
Yeah,
everything
yep.
else. That was the main
Mm-hmm,
travel they had. Well, it was the same with us, but we used airboats.
mm-hmm.
And rice paddies.
Okay.
That was it. And when I got to Makwa, well, I stayed there for a year until Tet, 1968. The day before Tet, I left because I was coming home.
Okay.
And I went back down to my headquarters in Campo. But that night, we got hit hard in Canto, and my camp got hit hard. That was their Tet. That was their holiday.
Right, that was their New Year's Eve type of
Yes,
thing.
yes,
and,
it was.
That was a big to-do. In fact, it was all of Vietnam at that time, and not only
Yes,
there,
yes.
but just
Yes.
the whole area. And it was quite a.
It
incident,
was,
I
it
would
was,
say.
just all the cores. It
Yeah,
was,
they hit
it was,
everything, yes, they did.
Most of them got hit real bad,
Mhm.
real bad.
Did you serve with any Vietnamese in your outfit?
Yes, we had a certain amount because the governor of that province is right there. He had his living quarters right there,
Mhm.
and he had what we call rough posts, south of Vietnamese troops.
Mhm.
We call them rough posts, somewhat like a national guard or something
Mhm.
like that. And which I did miss at camp when they got hit that night.
Yes.
But I was on my way home, and when I was down Camp Toe, my headquarters, next thing I knew, I was out on our run rig with all my gear again, because we were getting hit also down there. So anyway, I had to stay back a couple of days before I finally flew up and come home.
Well, an interesting thing I had discovered years later, and many of the missions that you guys ran, and of course probably every group there, were compromised by, from what I understand, they had 50,000 informers in South Vietnam at that time, and most of the stuff was already compromised before you went out into the bush.
Well, a lot of our camps, A camps especially, had VC in it.
The VC,
Is
what did
Vietcong.
Vietcong, okay.
They had them in there.
Mhm.
So that's the only thing I know about, our A camp. But I knew that they had VC.
And they
in
knew
there.
where you were going
Yes.
tomorrow morning. They were prepared many times
Yes.
out there.
They do have them in the camps.
Yeah, it's the thing there.
Because
Okay.
in all our camps, the southern troops, Vietnamese troops, they had their families and everything in those camps. Because see, in our A camps, we only had an A team,
Mhm.
which consisted of 11 troops.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus they had about maybe 2 or 3 companies of South Vietnamese troops with them.
Now, I didn't live out in the bush, I didn't do any of that stuff, but I can remember, well, I was in Korea at the time, but anyway, I had a lot of sea rations. I just wonder what kind of chow you had.
Well,
Sea rations?
yeah, but at the time they weren't lurks or anything. They were different sea rations. Like they had the John Wayne candy bars and everything.
How about in a sea ration pack, I can recall, you
Yeah.
had a little pack of cigarettes, 4 cigarettes, and
Yes.
they could have been Lucky's, Chesterfield,
Right.
whatever they might be. And there was a fruit cake, and I remember a chocolate that looked like a hockey puck, or something else in there. You had
Well, it was
some
a chocolate bar that we always called the John Wayne bar.
John Wayne, boy, okay, I didn't know about that, but
It's a candy bar.
how could
But-
you bite them? They would, you had to crush them.
Well, no, I really liked them.
Did
know.
you?
They're better than the lurps that they come out with. The
Oh.
lurps, you just add water, and you
Yeah.
stir it and eat them.
Oh,
But when I was in the camp, we had people down in Saigon on the when we needed something, you know, we requested it and all that. They had, mostly Air Force, that flew up our food that we requested, you know, into our camp.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was dry food.
Yeah.
You just add water, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
yeah. Well, you get used to it.
I guess the other thing is you had a lot of those water purification pills. Anytime you're out in the bush, boy, you had to throw a couple of those in your canteen and you grab water wherever you could. Out of the
Yeah,
water puddle.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I never did use that much. We had our malaria pills that we took and stuff like that.
Yeah. How about the shots you had to get? You said malaria pills. I can remember, boy.
Well, we got those shots when we came, before we moved, they come over overseas, you know, we ship.
So, what else can I say? You know, the local economy was basically fueled by you guys over there. You know, like you said, you had the sea rations, you traded, whatever. You know, you can get a silk handkerchief or a nice shirt or a cap. Almost anything these people could make.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we had people working for us on the camp, you know, which is mostly because they take care of our uniforms and that, you know, for us, you know, make them and bring them back to us in the morning.
Have you been back to Vietnam?
No,
No?
I really wanted to. I really wanted to go back to see it, but no, I couldn't.
So how old are you now?
88.
88. So if you're gonna go back, you better go back soon.
Yeah, believe me.
Okay. Now,
But I didn't mind it over there. The only thing I didn't mind, you know, the only thing that really scared me was the rounds that come in, because you don't know where they're gonna hit.
No.
You don't know.
They didn't aim at anybody, they just, mortar rounds were just tossed wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, you know, locally, our town, our community, this area, really supported the military at the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, another friend of yours and mine, Larry Thomas, he was over there, and he was special forces like you. And you guys really saw a lot of different things than I did, for sure. I had nothing like that. So, you guys had a different life.
Yeah, he was a great troop.
Yes, he was.
I really liked
Yeah,
that.
he won the Silver Star. I say won, awarded. You don't win anything like that.
No.
You know, that's the thing, you don't say that. Is there anything you miss from back there that you could see? I mean, I'm sure some of your friends that you would like to see again.
Oh, yeah. I had some friends over there when I left, you know. Because I only had a detachment when we were over by ship. It took us 30 days to get there.
Yes?
But I knew them, and then I missed the troops, Special Forces troops that I was stationed with up there and everything, you know. And we became pretty good friends.
Yeah. I remember when I was in Korea and I was at 7th Aerial Port, which is a transportation hub, and the Special Forces came through, Green Berets, and they had a beret and a blouse, pants, boots were all
They look sharp, believe
They
me.
were sharp coming through, and you were afraid to speak to them sometimes. These guys, what do you want? You know, but I had a lot of respect. There truly was.
Well, see, I was assigned to them,
Mhm,
you know.
mhm.
And I'll tell you what, it's one of the finest troops that I ever served with, ever, Special Forces. And but they don't leave nobody behind.
Nope. No.
Nobody.
No, they don't. Yeah, yeah. No, they don't. So it's,
They were great, believe me.
Let me ask you a question. Did you know Carl Zawatsky? He grew up on Parker Hill.
I
He
knew
was a
him.
baseball player.
Yes, I knew him.
Okay.
I mean, I knew of him, but I know he was a baseball player.
Okay. Well, we have his pictures over in that window, and we
Oh, yeah.
actually did a YouTube episode on him. And Byron Siegfried and Tom Geis went to a Phillies game to watch him, and they were on the dugout, and he was coming in, and they said, "Hey, we're from Shickshinny," and he come back out, and he said, "Do you know Frankie Titus?" And he said, "Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah."
know Frankie real good.
So we ended up doing the story. We were in the Press Enterprise, and it was a very
Yeah,
interesting
Myra
story.
and I were good friends.
Yeah.
Same class in high school.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he just passed away.
Yeah, I know, and I was surprised, I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, yeah, well, so I had to ask you that because, knowing Frankie and everything. and
Yeah,
stuff, He is
yeah.
quite a character. Yeah,
Yeah, I knew Frankie real good.
yeah,
I knew the family.
yeah. So is there anything that you want to add, to your, story here about your?
No, I'm just glad that, I made it back, you know, and if I really had to go again, I would go. I love my country.
Yeah, well, you know, Chandler and I made different episodes, and we always tell people that, you know, saying, thanks for your service is not
Oh,
enough.
yeah, yeah.
We tell people you should go out, if there's a veteran, maybe shovel snow, or take them for a ride, or call them, or, you know, maybe do something for them, because just saying that is not enough. If it wasn't for our veterans, our country wouldn't be what it is today, no matter who it is, and we appreciate Jake and you and different ones, and so we're very appreciative of that, and we're
Well,
glad that you came and did this article
well,
for
I'm
us.
proud.
We're preserving history here, and Jake is helping us, and he's one of my mentors, along with Brian Caverly.
Yeah, I've known him for
And like I said, it wasn't for him and Brian, there wouldn't be a museum and kids' library downstairs and stuff, so we're very appreciative of them putting their time and effort to
Yeah,
help
well, I
us.
knew Brian a long time.
Yeah, so Brian's done some episodes, him and Jake, and different ones, and we're gonna continue to do some, right, Jake?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, so.
Have you had anybody else that's been over there?
Well, you were the first person that, when I saw you that day, about Vietnam and stuff, and one or two other people did not want to do this. And so we don't get into personal stuff, but it's important that people realize, especially the younger generation, does not realize the sacrifices that were made by our veterans. And when they come here for a tour, I try to emphasize to them, you know, and that's why we're preserving all this stuff, so say this is what a television looked like after World War II, or radio from World War I, or telephones, or whatever the stuff that we have. And then my wife has a lot of history books downstairs for kids to come in and learn history, because they're not learning it in school. So, not to be negative about that, but that's just a fact.
Yeah.
I think when we grew up in this town, we grew up non-political. We were neither Democrats nor Republicans. We were young kids that liked to play baseball, football, and do that. And I can remember Vietnam. When I heard Korea, I didn't hear Vietnam. It was kind of a secret thing. And you get a draft notice, and oh my, well, it's our turn. And we went. And I guess that's the thing. You know, we did serve our country. You appreciate what we got from this country.
Yes, yes, this is my country, especially Shickshinny, this is my town. Born and raised here in 1937. I loved it all the way.
Yeah.
And don't think I wasn't worried when I was over there.
Oh my God,
You
yes.
know,
Yeah.
Cause you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know whether you can take a round or whatever you're gonna do, shoot an egg or what, you know, but once you get used to it, you know, you can get a little used to it.
It's in the back of your mind, though.
Yes, it is.
Every
And
night,
when
every
I
night.
first come home, my friends, when I laying there, you know, she had asked me, "What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, probably one of these things I had in Vietnam."
Yeah.
Come back to me, and hit me, you know.
Yeah.
But you see a lot, you know, over there, going through the stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it's on the back of your mind.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
understandable,
yeah.
sure, yep.
But I don't know.
Well,
I went over, I did my duty for my country, and I come back home. That's all I care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Lynn, we want to thank you.
Yeah,
Jake,
no
thank you very
problem.
much
You?
for coming and doing this and stuff.
Lenny.
We appreciate this.
I don't forget you, buddy.
Hey, we're the two oldest guys that parade in the Memorial Day parade.
Yeah,
And
absolutely,
we
yep.
walk it.
Yeah,
And we
and,
walk it.
yeah, we have pictures out in the hallway about the parade and up at the cemetery and what it used to be like, and we try to encourage more people to come up there to remember veterans and especially
Yeah, I also,
Memorial Day.
when I come back, I also, Special Forces give me a plaque. I showed you that
Yes.
one time, afterwards, with John F. Kennedy's name on it.
Oh, wow, wow.
And with all this here now, I don't know if really think if my son would donate all the stuff that I have.
Okay,
If
well,
he doesn't,
if you have
I
something
would
that you
love-
want to donate, we'd be glad to have it put
Right,
here
yeah.
and display. As you can see, we have a lot of military stuff to display here and other things as well. And but again, we thank you very much for coming.
Yeah.
Jake, we thank you for doing this for us. So this is Jimmy Bach along with producer Chandler Holmes and Jake Bluda and Lynn Titus. And this will be episode 59. Thank you very much.